everybody! Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make your own Polaroid picture. And this is all with printer paper, and this one is a stock photo, and I had converted it to black and white and then added some color with some distressed stains and some distressed ink. And so that's what I made, and I used a little bit of watercolor pencil in there as well. So this all came from a black and white image, just printed out, and there's a few layers of paper on here. And I'm going to show you how you can make your own. So the Polaroid that I'm going to be making today is going to be one that's a different size than the first one I did. And so it's going to look sort of like this. Oops. So it's going to look sort of like this. And I chose this size because I'm going to be putting it onto a canvas for my best friend. This is her. Her name's Kat. And I took this photo when we were exploring at the Biltmore Estate here in Asheville, North Carolina. So step one of creating your own Polaroid is printing out your image. So when I printed out this image, first I made sure that it was 4 inches by 4 inches. Then I converted it to black and white so that I could add my own color. Next, before I printed, I made sure that the resolution of the photo was 300 dpi. So anything less than 300, you're going to kind of get a pixely image. This one is pretty clear, and it turned out really nicely. And I printed this onto an ivory cardstock to give it sort of an aged look. That was step one, printing out your image. So I did that. Next, you want to cut out your photo. So I did that. Saved you some viewing time with me using a paper cutter. I cut out my image, and then I cut out my mounting paper and the paper that I'm going to use to make the frame. So these are both the exact same size, 2 pieces of paper, one's for mounting, one's for the frame. So once you have that, and make sure that you put your image in here and just make sure that you like how it looks in there. Okay, step 2. I want the texture side down, so I want it to be a smoother frame rather than this like slightly textured cardstock. So this is the back then, this textured side. And I'm going to take my photo and I'm going to, in pencil, trace around where the image is going to sit inside of the frame. And I'm taking just a little bit more time on this because it's a gift and I want it to look really, really great for my friend. So I've traced in pencil around the photo, and I'm going to take my paper cutter now. So here's how the frame turned out. Making sure that the frame is going to go over the image and there's not going to be any white showing through. Okay, so I decided that I'm going to mount on black cardstock, and I'm going to put my frame over it. And I did this because I originally made this frame and it was just a tiny bit too wide for my photo. And so I'm going to save this frame and use it on a different project for different Polaroid. And since you're not really going to see the mounted cardstock anyway, I figured I'd just use black because I don't use it a whole lot. So as you can see, it's just going to go right over there. And I've traced out my new frame. And so when I traced around the photo before, I cut right along those lines. And that's why the photo was falling through the frame, was because it was the exact same size. The frame was the exact same size as the photo. And so what I did was right inside the outline of the picture, I drew these little guidelines. And this is where I'm going to be cutting. So it's going to come a little bit in on the photo, and it's going to lay right over top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this frame out, and it should work really well this time. And that one worked out really well, I think. So let's test out the frame. And there's some overlap on the photo. The frame is overlapping the photo, so it's nice and snug in there. Well, it will be once I adhere it down. So that's the next step, is adhering everything together. So to begin, I'm going to use some matte medium. And this has a really big brush, so I'm going to set that brush aside, and I'm going to be using a smaller brush for this. So I'm going to put the matte medium on the back side of this frame. The photo's a little bit not straight on the back, and I did that so that I could straighten this horizon line here, this fence. So I straightened out the fence. My next step, I can use this big brush. I'm going to do some more matte medium on the back. And this little photo is actually my test run. I thought that I wanted to make my photo, oops, oh goodness gracious. I thought that I wanted to make my photo 2 inches by 2 inches, but I didn't realize quite how small 2 inches was. So I just flipped my paper over and printed it larger on the other side. So now I'm gonna line this up with my mounting board, making sure that none of the black is going to show through. So there you have it. There's my Polaroid picture. And of course I can go in and add color, or I could write something down here about the day that we explored the Biltmore together. Yeah, so lots of possibilities with this. Like I said, this one I'm going to put onto a canvas. And this steampunk one that I made, I'm probably going to put into an art journal page. Here's the journal page that I made to go along with that Polaroid photo. And you can see it's got some shimmer on those gear stamps, and this is actually a texture paste. It's like a crackled texture paste. So it's got some cool texture. And yeah, I had so much fun making this page. And so this is going to go probably on here. And I found a website that had some steampunk words and like rhetoric and stuff. So I'm probably going to do some sort of steampunk story or writing of some sort over here. So much fun to make these Polaroid pictures, and like you saw, it's pretty easy. As long as you remember to leave some overlap on your frame, you should be good.